When Soviet tanks rumbled through Berlin in late April 1945, Adolf Hitler knew his empire had crumbled. The man who once commanded millions was now trapped in a concrete bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery. On April 29th, he married his longtime companion, Eva Braun, in a bizarre midnight ceremony. The very next day, April 30th, they said their final goodbyes. Around 3:30 in the afternoon, Hitler and Eva retreated to their private quarters. He bit into a cyanide capsule and shot himself in the head. Eva died beside him from poison alone. Their bodies were carried outside, doused with gasoline, and set ablaze in the Chancellery garden as Soviet shells exploded nearby. The man responsible for the deaths of millions chose to escape judgment by his own hand, leaving behind only charred remains and a legacy of horror. He was 56 years old. His death marked the end of the war in Europe and the beginning of decades of speculation. He was a dictator who ruled deep into the modern era, long after his wartime counterparts in Europe were gone. Kim Jong-il maintained an iron grip on North Korea, one of the most isolated countries on the planet, by building an intense cult of personality around himself. His reign came to a sudden end on December 17, 2011, while traveling on his private train. He reportedly suffered a massive heart attack. The world, however, wouldn't know for another 2 days. His death was finally announced in a dramatic and emotional state broadcast that captivated global audiences. Today, his body lies preserved and displayed at the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun. His youngest son succeeded him, ensuring the Kim dynasty would continue to rule. Ever wonder what happened to Italy's infamous dictator, Benito Mussolini? His end was just as dramatic as his rise to power. Picture this: April 1945, World War II is in its final chaotic days. Mussolini, the once all-powerful leader who dreamed of a new Roman Empire, is on the run. He disguises himself, trying to blend in with German soldiers, hoping to escape to Switzerland. But his luck runs out near the beautiful Lake Como. Italian partisans, fighters of the resistance, stop his convoy. They recognize him immediately. There's no grand trial, no final speech. The very next day, Mussolini and his mistress, Clara Petacci, are executed. Their bodies are then taken to Milan and hung upside down in a public square, a grim and powerful symbol for all to see. This was the violent, public end of fascism in Italy, a stark contrast to the power he once held. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more history stories. After being on the run, Saddam was captured in December 2003, found hiding in a small underground hole near his hometown of Tikrit. This led to a highly publicized trial where he faced charges of crimes against humanity, specifically for the 1982 massacre of 148 Shiite Muslims in the town of Dujail. The trial was a major event broadcast around the world. In November 2006, he was found guilty and sentenced to death. On December 30, 2006, Saddam Hussein was executed by hanging in Baghdad. The event was filmed, and the footage quickly spread online, sparking intense debate and controversy globally. His death marked a definitive end to his decades-long rule over Iraq, a period that reshaped the Middle East. Muammar Gaddafi. Back in 2011, during the Libyan uprising, opposition forces were closing in. Gaddafi, once an all-powerful figure, was on the run. By October, he was cornered near his hometown of Sirte. His escape convoy was hit by an airstrike, forcing him into hiding. What happened next was captured in chaotic, grainy mobile phone footage that quickly spread worldwide. He was found alive by rebel fighters. In the confusing moments that followed, he was killed. His death marked a definitive end to his 4 decades of iron-fisted control over Libya. His body was later publicly displayed before being taken to an unmarked grave in the vast Libyan desert, closing a major chapter in the country's history. It's a stark reminder of how quickly power can shift. For over 30 years, Rafael Trujillo held the Dominican Republic in an iron grip. His control was absolute, built on fear, propaganda, and brutal repression. But on the night of May 30th, 1961, everything changed in a flash. As Trujillo drove his unescorted Chevrolet Bel Air near Santo Domingo, a car full of armed conspirators ambushed him. The quiet coastal highway erupted in a storm of gunfire. They intercepted his vehicle, and the man who called himself the benefactor was shot multiple times. Just like that, 3 decades of tyranny came to a violent end. The assassination sent shockwaves through the nation, plunging it into chaos and uncertainty. It was the bloody final chapter for one of history's most notorious dictators, proving that no ruler, no matter how powerful, is invincible. Augusto Pinochet's story offers a unique and complex conclusion. After seizing power in Chile through a 1973 coup, his later years were tangled in legal battles. He was even arrested abroad and faced numerous indictments for his regime's actions. But here's the twist: Pinochet never served a single day in prison. On December 10, 2006, at the age of 91, he passed away in a hospital in Santiago. His death split the nation right down the middle. While some Chileans mourned his passing, others took to the streets to celebrate. This stark division perfectly captures the complicated and painful legacy. He left behind a legacy that Chile continues to grapple with to this day. It's a powerful reminder of how history's final judgment is often far from simple. Imagine being so feared that even when you're dying, no one dares to check on you. That's exactly what happened to Joseph Stalin, the iron-fisted ruler of the Soviet Union, on a chilly night in March 1953. After a dinner with his inner circle at his country home, Stalin suffered a major stroke. But the terror he had instilled in everyone, even his own guards, was so profound that hours went by before anyone dared to enter his room. They found him on the floor, conscious but unable to speak. For several agonizing days he lingered, with doctors too afraid to make a wrong move. Finally, on March 5th, the man who had held an entire nation in his grip for decades died at 74, while the public was shown scenes of mass mourning. Behind closed doors, many breathed a quiet sigh of relief. The era of Stalin's terror was finally over. Let us look at two of the 20th century's most infamous leaders, Nicolae Ceausescu of Romania and Pol Pot of Cambodia. Their final hours couldn't have been more different. Picture this: it's December 1989 in Romania. The people have had enough. Ceausescu, the self-styled conjugator, finds his absolute power crumbling before his very eyes. As the revolution engulfs Bucharest, he and his wife Elena make a desperate attempt to escape by helicopter. But there's no way out. They're captured, and what follows is a whirlwind of swift, brutal justice. On Christmas Day, of all days, they face a hastily assembled military tribunal. The trial is short, the verdict predetermined. Convicted of genocide and other crimes, they are sentenced to death. Within hours, the couple is executed by a firing squad. The footage, though graphic, is broadcast across the nation, a shocking, undeniable symbol that the Ceausescu regime was truly over, marking the violent end of communism in Romania. Now, let's shift our focus to the jungles of Cambodia. Here, another monster, Pol Pot, the architect of the killing fields and leader of the Khmer Rouge, met a starkly different fate. After his genocidal regime was overthrown in 1979, he didn't face a Nuremberg-style trial. Instead, he vanished. For nearly 2 decades, Pol Pot lived as a fugitive, hiding out in remote jungle strongholds near the Thai border, always one step ahead of justice. His end came not with a bang, but a whisper. In April 1998, while under house arrest by a rival Khmer Rouge faction, the man responsible for the deaths of nearly 2 million of his own people died. The official cause was heart failure. There was no international tribunal, no public reckoning, no day in court. His body was put on crude display for a few journalists before being unceremoniously cremated on a pile of old tires. It was a quiet, anticlimactic end for a man whose actions screamed across history. So you have 2 tyrants, one executed publicly on Christmas Day, his downfall broadcast for all to see. The other dies of old age and jungle isolation, cheating the world of a formal judgment. These 2 endings raise a powerful question. What does justice for such monumental crimes actually look like? A dramatic public spectacle or a quiet, lonely demise? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.